What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Where Is This Going? We have a great episode ahead of you today. We have Loren Johnson in the studio, very talented singer, songwriter, and photographer. Real triple threat, this gal. She just released a new single, which you will also hear at the end of the episode. It's a great conversation, very soft-spoken, but very, very wise in her way of thinking. And I appreciate that, especially coming from someone. We're in our mid-20s. It's not so often you find wise people in their mid-20s. And also, maybe my judgment skewed because I'm also 25. So anyone basically could be wise to me. But that does not discount her wiseness, her wisdom. Please follow Loren Johnson on Instagram at LoJaOh. That's LoJaOhJoh. Yeah. Enjoy the episode. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. Follow me at _Hunter Miles. Enough from me. Let's just go to the show. This episode of Where Is This Going is brought to you by Off the Grid, house of the vintage and handcrafted and created in secret. Off the Grid is located at 2863 West Shore Drive, apartment 114 here in Holland, Michigan. And Off the Grid has everything you need to get exactly that, off the grid. Before you go away for the weekend, make sure you get hooked up with a fresh drip, with a new glass piece. They are a curated vintage apparel shop mixed with a premium glass shop, and just here to curate a vibe for you to get off the grid. Barber coming soon. They are, like I said, located at 2863 West Shore Drive, apartment 114, open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Check them out. Tell them we sent you, and you will get 10% off of any glass or merchandise purchase. Yeah, just mention Where Is This Going, and say what up to Alex and Bruce. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Where Is This Going? I am your host, Hunter Miles, and this is Where Is This Going? A podcast about artists you may not know yet, but hopefully will soon grow to appreciate at the very least. And today in the studio, we have a very talented, multifaceted artist in the studio with us. We have the very talented, once again, Loren Johnson, everybody. Please welcome Loren Johnson. We'll try to put some applause in post, and maybe it'll work out this time. We've had it once.
Right on.
But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really cool.
I'm glad you think it's cool. I'm glad you think they're cool. Sorry, it was I think you should leave reference that I instantly thought
I
of.
haven't watched all of those yet.
But you're familiar with.
I'm very familiar. My housemate made me watch the one where the baby doesn't think people can change.
Yes.
So I am familiar.
I'm glad you're in great company then. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Before we move forward at all, I want you to follow Loren Johnson on Instagram, LoJaOhJoh.
Yep, LoJaJoh.
Perfect. I'm glad you spelled it. I was going to, but it
gets pretty confusing.
The origins?
It's the first two letters of my first and middle name, and then last three of my last name. So LoJaOhJoh.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like a Mojo Jojo reference.
Some people call me Lojo Jojo sometimes.
Do you not appreciate it?
I love it. I never thought I had a name.
It didn't
for
seem like it by
nicknames.
the tone.
Well, no, I never thought I had a name that did well for nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if you have J as one of your initials,
Yeah.
you can always just
You
go by.
could go by LJ,
LJ.
anywhere. Yeah, I couldn't go by HJ though. I don't.
J. You could.
Yeah, it has some weird connotations. I think there's H. John Benjamin though. He's a good one. Bob, the voice of Bob's Burgers, the voice of Bob in Bob's Burgers, and the voice of Arby's.
The
He would do the commercials for a bit.
meat sandwich.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yes.
Wow.
You hit it spot on too. That was a really good H. John Benjamin.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks. Maybe Arby's will sponsor me.
Maybe. I think you'd write a better jingle than a voiceover, but
I'll write the Arby's jingle.
like I said, multifaceted. Loren, what are your mediums of art?
Yeah, it's funny to talk about because I'm just now kind of starting to consider myself an actual artist in these mediums. This is what I do.
So I met you as a photographer. Well, I met you as a person at a festival.
Yeah, so this is a really fun full circle thing.
Right.
That's why one of the reasons I think this is so cool is we met like passing by each other, and you had such like your eyes were like so blue. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to take pictures of you. Can I take pictures of you? And you were like, yeah, and we were gonna do it, and then COVID.
Yep.
And now we're here.
Beautiful COVID. And then it's beyond pictures now. We're on video.
Yeah,
we've
gone way beyond pictures.
Still haven't gotten the pictures, but
we'll get there.
I guess you can't go beyond without getting to. Anyways,
the way, the directions, journey, destination.
Exactly. It's
friends
not
you
a
make along the way.
It's not a lateral journey. I think that's. I don't know. It's not a lateral path. Whatever.
Photography and music.
Yeah, photography, music,
Well, I'm like a singer-songwriter.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I play guitar and I sing and write songs. I'm working on an album right now. And I take portraits and primarily of musicians.
Right.
That's what I found I really like to do.
And which came first? Is this a chicken or the egg thing? Your love for music or your love for photographing music? There we go.
They've really always gone hand in hand. If I really think about it, I've always played guitar ever since I was little. My dad really encouraged me to do that. I was a part of the school orchestra playing double bass like all the way up through college.
Nice. Did anyone in your family play instruments as well?
Not really. No, my dad was a music lover, and my parents are both really creative, but not a lot of musicians.
Right. So fans of expression, definitely. But
and just really, they were really cool as parents too. They just, when I was little, they just kind of threw me into the fire. You know, what is she good at?
Right.
We found out really quickly sports wasn't one of those things. Any form of physical activity,
hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, we'll just leave her out of that. But music stuck, and so they really encouraged that. And it was also something that I could do no matter where we were living.
True.
Because I was part of a Coast Guard family. I was the only child of a family that moved around a lot. So, you know, it can be kind of hard to be in clubs or sports or anything like that when you're changing schools. And
it's an easy social tool too.
Yeah.
As well. Everyone who can play a guitar can also make a friend because of the guitar.
Exactly. And photography came way later. I was in my early teens, and this was when Instagram was just starting to get big. I followed a lot of photographers on Tumblr from the area, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to capture my life like this. How do they do this?
How old are you?
I'm 25.
25, so same age. And that, were you I don't know how to say this without it sounding derogatory, and it shouldn't at all. Were you a Visco girl?
No, I remember I always saw that hashtag Visco, and I feel like I'm not technologically challenged.
But I still didn't understand that.
There's like certain things that have come and gone, things that are here that I just don't, or I've tried, and I'm just like, I don't.
You're beyond me in the simple fact of a link tree.
That is new.
Check out Loren Johnson's Instagram account.
Yeah,
for her link tree where you can find her Spotify links and the links to other projects she's been featured on. Lo Jojo again.
Thanks for noticing. That took me a minute.
Yeah,
I'm still to figure out.
Okay. I still haven't, and I think the reason I hadn't for a long time was because anyone with a link tree in their bio was also promoting their OnlyFans, and I was just like, it seems like I don't have that many links. Although I do, the connotation of it was just odd to me.
I don't have that many links. I don't need people to go to a secondary location
to
view my content quite yet.
John Mulaney warned me against secondary locations.
He warned me.
Yes.
He warned a generation.
We are the generation of Mulaney. But speaking of so technologically, did you have MySpace?
No, MySpace was well before my time, and probably yours too.
I was pretty active on MySpace.
Word. Well, I wasn't
do think
allowed
my sister
to have social media for a long time.
And that makes sense. Was it the military-style family?
No.
Parents.
It wasn't like a military-style family. It wasn't like a strict family.
I'm a cool military dad.
Yeah, my dad was a cool military dad.
Yeah.
It was the Coast Guard, so like we always got
That is the cool military.
Yeah. It was more just kind of like, you know, we get to live by the ocean, and my parents weren't strict. Right. They were really like encouraging of the arts and, you know, that kind of thing. But they're the classic parents that were like, never ever give your name on the internet,
Yeah.
and now they're like
They're the ones caught up in scams.
They're not caught up in scams. They're good, but it's funny
Mhm.
watching the evolution. Now we put everything
Yeah.
on the internet,
Our,
but no,
our
it
phones
wasn't
have
a
all of our information.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
My phone knows me better than I do. But no, it wasn't a Visco girl.
Right.
Didn't understand Instagram for a long time. By the time I did understand Instagram, the algorithms had kind of done that thing where they changed over, and it wasn't as easy
Right.
to
Find what you were searching for, just what it wanted you to see.
or put yourself out there. The way I had it described to me was it switched over, and it used to be kind of like the Wild West. Where it was all so chronological that if you just used the right hashtags at the right time and did this, you could get thousands of followers really quickly.
Right. Just whoever was on at that time seeing that hashtag. Yeah.
Now it's this whole, and it's an ongoing discussion about, bigger accounts can just get bigger because they have that momentum already behind them, and it's harder now for smaller accounts
It's like
to get
the wealth
started.
gap in America.
Sort of. Yeah. Very art mimics life.
I think that's both life mimicking each other.
like it's just life.
It's just life. The rich get richer.
But it by the time I understood it, I didn't really do the Visco thing. I don't really do TikTok. I've wanted to, but I'm so overstimulated with how many apps I have now.
Rightfully so.
All the time.
Yeah.
And they all have a messaging function. And
I don't know how to communicate. That means everyone can reach you no matter what platform they have you on. Thankfully, we mainly talked on Instagram. There wasn't jumping between apps, which happens often, of course.
Appreciated that. But to answer your question, the photography.
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. We get derailed.
I enjoyed that direction. The photography came later. I was about 16, 17 when I got my first camera. It was a Rebel T3 and little guy, and I just remember I was just taking pictures of everything. I didn't want to do it for a career. That's not what I was interested in. I wanted to take those lifestyle photos.
Right, candids of everything.
Yeah, like I saw all these. There were a couple photographers in the area that had gotten pretty big, had gotten some national recognition, and their photos were just that quintessential 2010s, like filmy, kind of Tumblr-y, with
the
mysterious,
almost like I want to say like the starlights in the background of like a bright night sky. It's but it's almost like overexposure.
No, like long exposure. It wasn't necessarily long exposure. It wasn't landscapes that I was super interested in. It was like, think Urban Outfitters ad from 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Like just uber indie hip. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do they do this? I just remember like years not being able to figure it out and just taking a lot of bad photos. And eventually those bad photos got a little better, and you're just out shooting with your friends who also take pictures or shooting whatever.
Right.
And it just kind of snowballed. Honestly, it was just this thing that just kind of, I wasn't seeking, but it always was just something I could do, something I could offer.
Right.
So when I started working with Walk the Beat and the Spread the Music Foundation, which, have you heard of that?
Yes. The Walk the Beat I have, yes.
Right on. Well, it used to be Spread the Music Foundation. Okay. So they're the ones, Dave Palmer, who was the founder, was the one that got me really performing at a young age in front of people, because that's what the foundation is all about.
How old?
Yeah, 11.
11.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and when I got a little older, after I was taking pictures for a while, I helped out with the festival, I helped out with the events, and eventually started helping out at Third Coast Recording Studio too. And photos was always just kind of this side thing I could offer.
Right.
I'll just
like
take
while
photos
you're in the studio.
Yeah. And it just, I did a couple weddings, I remember, and I was like, oh, that's not for me. I do not want to do this ever again. I think it's amazing that people can and love doing weddings, but that's a whole...
So when did you start first being asked to take pictures then?
Oh, well, in high school. Like, can you do my senior pictures? Can you do this? Can you,
But that's still good recognition.
It was cool. Yeah, it was really cool. And I take people's portraits really seriously when someone trusts you with their image. So I just, it's funny. I haven't thought about this progression, actually. I actually haven't thought about my origin story as a photographer really ever. But it's just funny how it's kind of snowballed into, I primarily take pictures of musicians now.
Mm-hmm.
It's musicians reaching out. I found a
Right.
great scene here in West Michigan through all the things I did as a teen and early 20s. And yeah, it's interesting.
I'm not very familiar with the photography scene. I have two friends in photography, Devron Thomas. I don't know if you know him. Tyler Darland, I believe. I don't know if he's shouted you out before. I'm not sure.
Right on.
But Tyler is always shouting out local artists of every facet. So that's why I believe he might have. But those are two people that I see pretty passionate about photography. And I don't see it exercised a lot. And maybe that's just my circle. But how did you come into this community of photographers?
It's actually, I was referring to the community of musicians.
That's what
around
I had
here.
figured is.
Yeah, because I know a few photographers in the area, and it's really fun to go out and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost don't even see that as a photography community. I see that as just my friends.
Okay,
you know,
and that's what I was
go out.
asking
Yeah.
because you had said that like just going out with your friends who also have cameras. I'm like, okay, so you just basically photography just fell into your friend group, or
Yeah, it was funny how once you start getting into it, it's something you can relate to others maybe you wouldn't normally relate to with it, and so you go out together,
right?
and a friendship kind of forms just based on you going out and
Right.
trying stuff and taking pictures of each other and
The adventure there as well. Yeah.
yeah, and it's really funny the way it's evolved because now very recently I've kind of taken a good hard look at what I want to do, and photography is a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really was a part of that. It was always a side thing. It was always something I've kind of resisted
Right.
because I get kind of anxious and nervous about editing and because I'm taking portraits. This is like
Right.
someone's face.
image, like you said. Yeah.
This is their representation. This is what they're going to use for whatever they've hired me for or asked me to do, and I feel that weight.
And that's good. I mean, it's you taking on the passion or the burden of the passion.
The burden of the passion.
But I mean, it means you care about what you're doing,
Yeah.
which is the burden of the passion. Really, it's
Yeah.
just like it should be a
I
lot
do.
cooler if I just could just say fuck it.
I've gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot better about, really just being more decisive and being more like, this is what I do, this is what I don't do. When you ask me to do this, here's what that entails.
Right.
Like you're trusting me to pick them, you're trusting me to edit them. If you don't like it, we can do it again. But
Right, and it's more of a confidence and a surety in yourself.
trusting your own skills is
Yeah.
huge. Yeah, and just the only way to do that, I've learned, is just throwing yourself into the fire. Just pure experience and messing up a lot.
And exactly that is, if you don't like it, this is what you get from me.
Yeah.
And that also is what helps artists of whatever notion develop into their own style or their own voice, whether it be through photography or paint or comedy, whatever. It be telling you this is how I'm gonna work, and whether you like it or not, and I will work within you liking it or not. But this is just how I'm working. It helps you develop how you work better.
It's really incredible when you start to. I never. How do I say this? I was trying to emulate other people's tones and styles for so long, like, in my teen years and early 20s when I just didn't really know what I was doing.
Right. Would you say this musically or
photography?
Photography.
Yeah, and musically too, actually. Music is a little different. That's always been more like my soul kind of thing, like what I really have always just wanted to do and known I wanted to do. Photography was always kind of this like little thing I kind of protected as mine for a while, but the more I have found that I try to do that now, the more resistance and anxiety I get, and I just it's funny how recent this shift to accepting myself as a photographer has been. Probably a lot sooner than anyone would guess.
A lot more recent, you mean?
Yeah, because it's Yeah, I take it really seriously when people ask me to take their image, and people have told me they know one of my photos when they see it now, and that exact phrase is the kind of thing that when I was like 16, that was my
That's all you were
one
looking for.
dream.
Yeah.
I just want people to know, and I didn't even know where to begin with finding a tone. Like, how do you, like, voice tone? What? Like, a style?
How can you hear me through?
How do I develop my own?
Right.
What? How does that happen? Do people have like whiteboards in their house with, pictures taped up in string, like that one Charlie from It's Always Sunny? Like, is that what people
Right.
do? And it's cool to look back and see all the different people I've taken pictures of and all the ways I've changed and the things I want to do and shoot ideas. And it's like, wow, there it is. There's
right.
the tone.
There's a development of the tone,
and
too.
it just happens.
Right.
You just do it enough and you learn enough from each time. You forget your memory card enough. And, remember to bring it the next time, or, use one thing and it worked, use another thing and it didn't. And all these little, ways on the path, all these little milestones or hurdles or deviations turn your work into yours.
Right. And you're compiling skill and experience along the way.
Yeah.
And bringing it with you wherever you go as well.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you figure out this thing works and you figure out this thing doesn't, well, then you do the thing that works a little bit more often and you fall away from the thing that doesn't a little more often.
Or finding when that thing that didn't works. That's been a big thing.
Even more, yeah.
Yeah, the subtlety of it. It's funny. It's really funny. The recent epiphany I actually had with this, maybe you'd be interested. This was just a few days ago. I was scrolling Instagram one morning before I started work, and there's this photographer that I really have followed for a long time, and I just love his work. He's a lot bigger. He lives in LA, and he hadn't posted for a while, and I didn't notice that until I saw that he had posted.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this guy's work in a while. And it was a birthday post for his wife, but the way it was written and styled, it sort of seemed like she had passed away. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I know that they had collaborated a lot. And I went back on his profile and I saw that over the course of 2020, his wife had been struggling with a form of, I think it was leukemia. And he didn't post as much. And she was his collaborator. She was an artist too. And he's a really good writer, this artist. And there were a few posts, just a few from the past year of him writing about this experience. They thought she was going to make it, and then she didn't. And they were a young couple. They have young kids. And I'm reading this, and I'm just sobbing, for these people that I don't know.
Right.
Right. And just feeling it so much and looking at the pictures of this woman and their family and all pictures that he had taken over the past however many years.
Right.
And just the way he wrote everything, something about that. I had kind of been building to a bigger epiphany like this for a while, but this was really just the thing that locked it in. And I was like, it is my job to document people because sometimes you don't get a second chance to take photos of that person. And sometimes those photos that you take
is all someone.
That's what you have.
Right.
And I don't know. It was just this really, I'd been thinking that for a while. People have told me that before. I had heard that before. I had had that thought many, many times before, but something about just this one flash, the way he was such a good writer, the photos that I saw, I don't know, something about it. I don't know if it was a culmination of other things that had happened in 2020 or things that I've watched my friends go through. But
or that he was an admirable figure to you as well.
Yeah,
but
it just hit.
And it was a culmination of things, like you said, that needed to hit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we need those purpose-defining epiphanies.
Yeah, and I've had a few people recently tell me that just really encourage me in my photography in a way that it was something I always kind of hid, music and photography.
Right. When
I was in high school or college, I didn't want to be the stereotypical annoying girl with a camera or annoying girl with, a guitar. I didn't want to.
You didn't want the Taylor Swift vibes.
Yeah, I think I had a bit of a complex just because of how ridiculed that archetype seemed to be, and it didn't seem like no matter how
the white girl singer-songwriter type.
Yeah. Or just someone who says they take photos or says they play guitar.
Yeah.
Who, looks like me.
You're like, you look like the type.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm sure you do.
And to be fair, there was a lot of girls who looked like you saying the exact same thing.
I did not blame people. I just kept it to myself, and I was like, I'm just gonna.
I understand why you don't trust me, but believe me, I do.
I do.
So
But,
you said you moved around a lot, but Coast Guard, meaning the reason you're around here, I'm guessing, is
my
because
dad
of Grand
retired.
Haven.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here.
So when did you come to Grand Haven?
I came to Grand Haven in 2007, 6,
Sixth grade, fifth grade.
fifth, sixth, and it was cool because I think that was a really good age to move to a town where I would be for the rest of high school.
Right. Because no one really remembered elementary school anyways.
Yeah, because up until that point, it was like every year, every 2 years, like, let's go. And I just thought that was normal.
Yeah.
And I'm only realizing now as they say your frontal lobe develops at age 24, right? And that's
almost concrete now.
Yeah. Now that I've got a concrete frontal lobe, I'm seeing how all that moving at a young age might have affected me in good ways, I think. But yeah. I moved in 5th, 6th grade.
It does help socially, I think.
Yeah.
Like you had said, it's a social tool when you have a thing like an art that you can perform, but that's at any age. But when you're moving around at a young age, it has an adverse or positive effect depending on the way you choose to socialize with others.
Yeah.
Some are very outgoing and they're like, now I've learned to make friends wherever I go, and others just have turned it off to be like, these friends aren't sticking around, why try?
Why bother?
Yeah.
And I had a mix of that. I definitely had I was the new kid all the time, and so you learn to watch, you learn to be adaptable. I didn't have any siblings, so I was just going into everything blind with like no partner, so you just roll with it, and you just find your way. And I remember I really struggled when we moved to Grand Haven because it's such a small community and it's such a niche community that the new kid was like a event, and I was kind of a weird, scrappy, like oddball, scruffy little kid that never wanted to comb their hair.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, what kind of kid were you? Just like that, scrappy, oddball, You say scruffy?
Yeah, I was scruffy. Yeah, my parents always used to get like pretty frustrated, and they used the word like ragamuffin because I never wanted to comb my hair. I wanted to be a tomboy. I wanted to be cool,
Tomboys don't comb. Boys don't comb their hair.
Boys don't comb their hair. But and I remember Grand Haven was a bit of a struggle for me because I had never experienced the all eyes on the new kid as much as I did there, because it was so small and everyone that had been there forever, and these teachers
it's that beach town, old money.
These teachers had not only these kids but their siblings and their parents, and I remember you from this, like all these legacy kids, and it took a while to get adjusted, and I don't think I ever quite did. I remember I graduated high school early too. I was just like, deuces, like I'm out.
How'd you do that?
I think there's like signs up now in Grand Haven High School that say like you can't switch your classes or you can't do this because of me. I was always like, if I invent this independent study and I get these teachers to sign off on it and I test out of these weird random classes that I might be able to do a pass-fail on, I'll have enough credits to get out.
There was a lot that we no high school student takes advantage of when it comes to like testing out of a class that is actually pretty easy to do. If you're smart and you're already in like some AP or advanced classes, you can actually just add to your credits.
Yeah. They don't tell you that. They don't really make it like an easy. I think they have now. Maybe I think things are a little bit more accessible now.
I think it's because kids are smarter, or they're realizing that kids are being pushed more now, I think. And it's, I think maybe we ruined it or whatever, but a lot of us performed under our potential.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of, especially in the turn of, sorry, not to cut you off.
Oh, no, please.
But just in the turn of the technological age where like iPads are just we had a lot of leeway with that.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad that we didn't have to do high school with a school-assigned Chromebook or laptop. Like,
I only had it in high school
Oh, you had it?
Yeah, I think my junior and senior year,
Right on.
I think is when we got them. Zealand. I mean,
Oh, yeah, right on.
I would have thought Grand Haven had them before us.
No, I think they were I don't know. I know a couple years after me they implemented them, but
So how early did you get out?
I was supposed to graduate 2014, but I graduated 2013.
Dang,
So I was able
a
to-
whole year.
Well, I did a that was back when they did trimesters.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to do one trimester my senior year and then go right into college
Nice.
for the second semester of Grand Valley.
Nice. So you went to Grand Valley.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from Grand Valley?
I did. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
What'd you study?
Geography.
A1.
Yep.
And you're completely using that degree right now,
Totally.
right?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. You love to see it.
I use Google Maps every day to get to places because
But-
I can't do it by myself.
Well, I mean, you weren't studying Grand Rapids geography. You're studying like world geography, right?
I can't. Yeah. We'll just say that. Yep.
You good with maps? Then, like Google Maps doesn't trip you up, does it? With left and right.
Oh, yeah, I'm so good at maps that like Google Maps gets in my way. It just confuses me.
Excuse me, stop talking at me. I read these maps.
No, I kind of just picked something that I could would be useful if I needed it.
As a degree,
Right,
Or just
yeah.
as a subject matter.
Well, like the degree is funny because it's kind of like build your own degree. You know, when people
Okay.
hear geography, it's like, oh, like maps. But what it really is like GIS technology and urban planning and cultural geography. You know, the way
Okay.
ideas move
Yeah.
and why things happen. Like pandemics use a lot of like social geography, and we studied pandemics. I remember when I was in college. If only we had known.
I think the timing was just off there.
Yeah.
And also like anthropology and things like that.
Related subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved anthropology I was a psychology major and political science minor,
yeah.
and anthropology was a close second for a minor because I just all three of those really are how people are interacting.
And it's fascinating.
Very,
because
very much so.
that was the thing that drew me to it. Is like, oh, people are studying this thing that I thought people only just noticed kind of casually.
Right.
But there's a science.
Yeah, the
to
tendencies of others and how they
Yeah.
interact with others.
This. How did this idea get over here in the 1800s? You know.
Our friend Joe Elder, friend of the pod, he is someone who's very adamant about expressing that his appreciation for that, just like that cultural geography and exactly the spreading of ideas and how people on this side of the globe and people on this side of the globe somehow figured out to do the same thing at the same time or like had the same developments when it when it comes to
It's
developing in general.
It's so fascinating. Yeah, I think anthropology is probably what links our majors to each other. But
Definitely.
yeah, totally using that degree now. But no, I just picked something kind of, all right, I'm doing this, I'm in school, it's not killing me, and I get to have a little bit of fun.
Right.
So it was good.
And so now for work, I understand you're actually not using it, but
By day, I'm a graphic designer.
nice.
Yeah, for a publishing company.
And that had nothing to do with any degree that you.
When they found out that my degree was in geography, everyone on my team on the floor, it was actually this cartoonish moment where everyone turned around and they were like, "What? How are you here?" And it was funny because graphic design was. I'm not like good at it by any means, but I can get by. You know, I do more corrections on other
Okay.
people's
Yeah.
work, like QC and that kind of thing. But I'm not like a superstar. It's funny because that's just one of the skills I picked up, kind of alongside
With photography and editing and things like that.
Hey, walk the beat. Why would you pay these people to do that? I can probably figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure that out, and then it just snowballs.
Right.
You know. You build it and people come.
I mean, people who also do stand-up comedy learn to do video and audio stuff as well as
Exactly.
editing and things like that.
Yes.
And yeah, because you have to be your own content
Your own
creator.
everything.
So it makes sense. Speaking of content, you have some new content out that just came out
Yeah. Well,
and more coming.
so much more coming. Yes. So
So we'll wrap up by kind of promoting that.
oh, right on. Cool. Okay.
Well, not like immediately rep. You got it. Anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Dogtown Studios?
Yes.
Yeah, Ravi and Tito.
I am more familiar with all the recordings I've seen done at Dogtown, but yeah.
They're a powerhouse team. They're just amazing. I had seen their work for so long and finally contacted him a few months ago, maybe at the beginning of the summer, and I was like, hey, I'd love for you to do some videos with me this summer and this fall. And he goes, that's so great. Why don't you come do a live stream? And I said, awesome. And so we did the live stream first and just hit it off. Just creative vision. Just, you know how sometimes you just meet people.
Two people just aligned.
Yeah, just like, whoa, we can finish each other's sandwiches.
Quesadillas. Dang it.
Yeah. Oh, we were close.
I was so close. I think a quesadilla is a sandwich. Go on.
And we just, Ravi and I especially, we just kind of start talking and we get so excited and amped up because I've got a little experience with video too, so we can kind of like talk about the same things. And so for my videos that summer, we plan to do backyard sessions where I just threw a little party and then did some live videos. And those ended up being really fun. My friend played viola and my drummer came out and it was really great. And then after
was this during the day or at night?
At night. That was
like a
the
fire.
Summer. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So
I do recall.
I've been
hearing
sprinkling
about this,
those here and there, but the big one we just did that I'm really, really excited about is I invited Emily Petersmark of the Crane Wives and Hannah Lane of Earth Radio to do a full moon session with me. My idea was that I wanted, 2 other women. I wanted it to be other women singing with me under a full moon. And that was the only idea I had. And Robbie ran with it, and we kind of just like fleshed it out and thought of, the idea and place and everything, and the day of it just totally came together beautifully. I
have to say I love the quality of the live recordings as well.
You.
So
Robbie crushes.
Yeah, I have to agree. And the graphic for
Bradley.
Okay.
Yeah, Bradley did the graphic. I wasn't going to put it up on Spotify, but people really seemed to like the video and like the song, and I feel like because we did the arrangement that day. And recorded it that night. And it was such a special day, too. We just kind of hung out all day and made some cool stuff. And the energy was just so incredible. And so I decided to put the song on Spotify. And I was like, well, I need cover art. And I know exactly who I'm going to ask.
So what's your relationship with Bradley?
I met Bradley at Buses by the Beach in 2018, I think. Do you know Buses by the Beach?
No.
So it's a festival in Grand Haven at Camp Blodgett.
Of course.
And I was asked to take pictures there. I used to do photos for Local Spins all the time.
Oh, okay.
And so I went and took pictures.
Local
and
Spins
I
am familiar with.
Yeah, love Local
Spins. It may sound like I don't know about anything we're talking about.
You know more than you think.
But Local Spins I do.
Well, the scene in Grand Rapids, I feel like it's getting so big that pockets are developing, and if you're in one pocket, you don't know about the other ones.
Right. Well, I mean, especially the creative scene.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Haley's also a musician.
Right on.
I don't know if you guys talked about that.
Not yet. No.
She does lessons too. You guys teach people
Right
whatever. I can't teach people stand-up comedy. They wouldn't take my lessons.
They might.
Well,
one
they're
day.
children. They wouldn't want me to teach their children. I think that's the difference here.
Yeah, that's key. That's key. There's a big difference between I would let you teach me versus.
Yeah. Can you give me stand-up lessons versus can you give my 12-year-old stand-up lessons?
Yeah, that's a different beast. But
I say that to say, like, from the punk scene, where Jackie, my other producer, is from more of the folk and rock scene, and what would you? I don't know. I was gonna pigeonhole you into a photography scene again.
No, please.
Which we've already talked about. You just said that your photography scene was just your friends.
Oh yeah.
But what would you say your pocket has been?
Good question. Honestly, I think it all. In my head and in my heart, and when I look back in my memories, the core of everyone I know and everything I do, it all just I just picture Third Coast Recording Studio and Walk the Beat and everybody that came through there during that time and everybody that was a part of Walk the Beat and like Olivia Vargas, August, Earth Radio, like Dutcher Snedeker, the Crane Wives, the Accidentals. It all just kind of started in those formative years. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Shannon Tomasic, her photography. She's a really amazing photographer, good friend of mine in that area. Her partner, Kevin Kozel, works at the studio and is a really great guitar player. So in my brain, if my brain was a place you could visualize,
it would just be.
It's just that feels like the heart of it. You know, that area just from in those years. And so I don't really know how to describe myself, I guess, amongst all that. I feel like I've just kind of entered as a musician. Like here I am as a musician putting things out. It's always kind of been in the background, kind of just there, you know, at events, helping run events, taking pictures, doing this, maybe doing a little show here and there.
Right.
So I don't know. TBD.
TBA. My pocket to be determined.
To be determined.
And until my pocket is determined, you can't be considered out of pocket.
Exactly.
So
I
there
like
you go.
that. Let's get that in Latin and get tattoos.
I think first we'll get it in not what's it called when you
Sanskrit?
needlepoint.
Perfect.
You get it in needlepoint, translate it to Latin, see how it looks.
See how it looks first. Yeah.
Check it in Sanskrit.
We'll have Bradley do the concept art for
Beautiful.
us. Yeah, perfect.
Beautiful. I also have not a Bradley, but a Bradshaw, a Ben Bradshaw. He just did the new cover art for my podcast.
I noticed that. That was great.
Yes, it looks much better.
I love it.
But yeah, so shout out all
Shout out to all the
creative
artists
Braddies.
and all the creative Bradleys.
Creative Bradleys or Benleys. Bradshaws. Anyways.
But yeah, Brad. It was funny when I met Bradley actually, because I was taking pictures and he has this print shop with his friend David where they carve. They're both really phenomenal artists. They carve. What do you call it? Like, it's print stamping.
Yeah,
not stencils.
Okay.
It's like it's actually carving into a block of wood, like block printing. And they make this art on these blocks of wood and ink 'em, and they can print anything. And they were doing that at Buses by the Beach, which is just a small festival. I couldn't even believe it was there for so long. I was like, has this been here the whole time? It's a bunch of VW buses that come from all over the world just to camp and hang out and listen to music.
And it's not during like Coast Guard Festival?
No,
or
it's
anything?
right in the spring. And I was like, it's my favorite festival. Honestly, now I go every year.
I'm starting to believe you just made it up.
No, it sounds like I made it up, but it's awesome. It's so fun. And it was funny because they have a shop called Jebu 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 where they make all this really sweet clothes. It's based in Marquette, I believe.
I was going to say, I would think that'd sound familiar.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. His TikTok like exploded because he does these really cool ASMR videos of him carving and printing. And
I bet.
Yeah.
Once you say carving anything,
yeah.
I can picture like the shavings, and I'm like, I'd love to watch it.
And they have such a distinct style. But what's funny is, you know, we kind of hit it off, me and David, and Bradley has really long hair. That's kind of the same color as mine. And we both had yellow sunglasses on at that festival. And I remember walking around and everybody thought I was him from far away until they got closer and they're like, oh, you are not Bradley.
My bad.
But that's like my number one memory is
being mistaken for Bradley the same day you met
Bradley,
him.
I'm like, no. But I'm sorry also. I'm sorry that I'm not Bradley. I wish I was.
Dang.
But no, just
I think you're fine. You're all right.
I'll survive.
Yeah.
I'll survive. But thank you for the compliment on the new stuff. I'm working on an album right now, getting all the demos together, and also some really cool videos that I'm gonna post more. And it's so cool that all of this stuff is finally coming together. And you know, there's artists who are also my friends to help make the cover art, and people who are also my friends to help produce the album.
It's the collaborative arts that I love to admire publicly, but that I love to be a part of as well, and that I love to just observe. Just people working together, especially from different aspects of art. Does that make sense? But different areas of art coming together for one person, basically, or one person's
project.
Yes, one project or one vision. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to see teamwork for a common goal, especially when it is seemingly selfless teamwork as well.
That is the most beautiful thing. You'll hear a lot of people talk about the music and art scene around here in this way, especially just in Michigan as a whole.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
So collaborative. It's so supportive. It's so genuine. You know, it's so everybody has this core notion that there is always enough to go around.
Right.
And when you have more than you need, you build a longer table.
Yeah, and it hasn't always been that way from what I've observed in the local music scene. But I mean, even in the comedy scene. It's been that way mostly since I've been a part of it.
Yeah.
But everyone who's been in it longer than I have is saying it. Oh, it wasn't always like this, and you guys are lucky that it is like this now. And also on that similar note, I'd like to say that it's awesome to see more videos and like music video from a local. It's nice to see. Let me try this sentence over again.
Take as many times as you need.
We can cut it. We'll leave it in. Who cares?
It's organic. It's real. It's that authentic stuff.
It's nice to see the local scene making a stretch to work on music videos again, because to me it seems like another step in dedication or care about the art that's being put out.
Yeah. I think Robbie and Tito of Dogtown have been, at least in Grand Rapids and the surrounding area, a huge catalyst for that.
Definitely because of the live sessions.
The live sessions and just like what they offer people. They offer everybody such a unique, their own vibe thing.
Right.
People want to have music videos with them because I don't know. I really feel like they're driving that big push.
It's like a personal curation.
Right, yeah, they really consider who they're working with, which is something I think that's the reason I get along so well with them, because I do the same thing with photography.
I was just going to say it's
like,
the same.
Yeah, like here's what I do, but you're also you, and we've got to find a way to combine that.
Right.
In a way that feels good for both of us. And Dogtown, the guys at Dogtown just really approach every project like that. How can we serve this with our vibe? Right. I guess. So
how can we make this vibe mesh?
Yeah, and they're doing everyone's videos right now. They're making it so easy and accessible for people too. Whereas before, I remember every time I looked into getting a music video done, it was like just really complicated, and it was going to be a lot of money, and to make it what you want it, you have to have a really big budget.
Right. Which
no one has,
especially at this level. Not to say that anyone's above anyone, whatever.
Nobody's got a spare $250,000 around for a crane and a helicopter.
What's your budget for this video looking like? Well, I just made this money today.
I have a fly that just flew out of my cartoon leather wallet. That's what we're working with.
I was gonna say the SpongeBob meme of the napkin, potato chip, and penny. Never mind.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't think you do. We're just
take it away.
Loren, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for
coming. Is there anything you would like to promote before we head out?
You can follow me at LOJAJOH. You can like me on Facebook. It's Loren, Loren Johnson.
Yes, the different Loren.
Yeah, the different Loren. And you can find me on Spotify and stream the new live single.
Yes.
And stay tuned for more.
New live single called Stay Close to Me.
Stay Close to Me.
Follow her on, that's what you do on Spotify, I believe. Follow on Spotify.
Follow, like, pin, share. What are the other words? No, let's not go there.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, be sure to leave a comment down below.
We can talk about both of us. You can talk about our hair. She covered hers up with a hat. Very smart move.
I did. I went back and forth a lot.
I should have. I really should have.
I'm jealous of your hair. You got those curls. Mine is just like a mushroom.
This is nappy now. It needs to be tamed.
Well, I have another hat. If you want to redo this whole thing.
All right. Run it back.
Wear tendon hats.
Thank you again so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
This is really cool. Full circle.
Yes, and do you not worry. Don't you worry. One, I was going to ask you, I can ask you off. You will be having some photos and images being shown. So when we talk about Loren's style of photography, you will have seen what she's talking about. So just know that those images will be, I'm talking to you now. Just know that those images will be shoved into where we were talking.
Cool.
And as well as, if you'd like your new single, Stay Close to Me,
right on.
which you can hear right now. Bright lights, take it through.
Every time you leave, they'll say things will never change here, but I have proven that wrong. Over and over, just trying to get back what I've lost so many times that I've lost track. If all I got is all that I have, and if there's nothing but endings ahead, stay close to me and we'll make this right. I won't push you away. We don't have the time. We learn how to grieve. Now we'll learn how to fight and how to hold things together without holding them inside. Signs are all around us that we're due to come down from the high that we've been on. They'll reckon with their sins when all they were born here to won't do any good for anyone. But I still believe. I've been listening. Stay close to me and we'll make this right. I won't push you away, babe. We don't have the time. We learned how to grieve. Now we'll learn how to fight and how to hold things together. Hold me together. Ooh, stay close.